Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do my series review of Dorohedoro, the series by Q Hayashida, put out by Viz. There are 23 volumes in total. It recently finished up, I believe, at the end of 2019 with volume 23. This has been running for a long time, or releasing for a very long time. So it's finally finished, and I am really happy to say that I enjoyed this from start to finish. This is one I've had my eye on for a few years, actually. I only started collecting it early, I think it was spring 2019 when I got the first 5 volumes used from somebody in my city. And then it was a nice way for me to try out the series because it was one that I had really had my eye on, but was a little skeptical because I just wasn't sold on whether or not I would actually enjoy it, and thankfully I did, and picked up the rest of it, and enjoyed it all the way through. Honestly, I can't wait to reread this because of the way that I read it. I read the first 5 volumes, and then it was a few months before I acquired the next few, and I think I had got up to volume 14 or something, and then I was stuck at volume 14 for a while before I bought more of it. And so there were several breaks in between chunks of reading, which I think inhibited my ability to enjoy it fully because I kind of forgot some of the characters in those breaks, and then, had to kind of remember what had happened in the previous chunk of volumes I had read. But I was still able to follow along, so it wasn't impossible. It's just that this series has so many characters that it, I think it would benefit from being able to read it more sequentially rather than taking long breaks. But basically, this is the story of this guy on the front cover of the first volume here, Kaiman. He lives in what is called the Hole, and he has a lizard head, because he was experimented on by the sorcerers who live in the sorcerer's world, but they come to the Hole to experiment on humans with their sorcery. So there's a lot of, basically it's human experimentation. And so there are a lot of people in the Hole who are disfigured, dismembered, have strange things like his lizard head happening. And so basically he is on the hunt to track down and kill the sorcerer who gave him this head. He wants his human head back, but he doesn't have any memories of anything. All he remembers is waking up and having this lizard head. So him and his friend Nikaido, who is this woman that runs a gyoza shop in the Hole, they are just kind of, she's less so on the hunt to help him, but more so just like his friend, and is, happy to be around him and will do what she can. But yeah, I really love the characters in this series because you start off following the people in the Hole, mostly obviously Kaiman, but and Nikaido, but you very quickly meet the sorcerers and get to know their world and who they are and why they do what they do. And it's a very well done series that covers both sides of the coin, because it's easy if this story only followed the people in the Hole to go, oh, the sorcerers are awful and they're just they're just experimenting on humans and they're horrible people, and that's that's the end of it. But it really isn't that. It's just, that's how their life works, and you meet them and get to love them just as much as you love the characters from the Hole. And you meet the devils who are above the sorcerers, and you go, okay, so it's just a chain of torment, because the devils torment the sorcerers torment the humans, and it's all just a mess. There's another group involved as well, so it's very much I don't want to say it's like a gang sort of story, but it feels that way because you have these very separate factions of individuals who are all kind of, pitted against each other in a way. And it's very fascinating because you really get in-depth character development and backstories and behaviors of all of these characters. There really doesn't feel like it doesn't seem to gloss over people. Like if it introduces a character, you get to know that character. And in 23 volumes, there's a lot of room to really flesh out these characters and this world. And the really amazing thing about this manga is the world. It is so, like, sensory. When you're reading it, you can feel, like, I feel like I can feel what it's like to exist there. Just by looking at this art, I can feel the dampness and the stark, like, feeling of hopelessness, and the like, it just feels damp. It feels like it would smell bad. It feels like it's just strange, and this causes such a visceral reaction when you're reading it that is just really, really good. First of all, storytelling, but also art on the part of Q Hayashida. It's just wonderful. The other thing about this story that's so awesome is the humor, because this could very easily be just a super dark, disturbing, violent, grotesque story, which it's all of those things. But it's also so funny, so heartwarming, and just, like, it's fun to read. It's one that if you love blood and guts and gore, you're going to get that here, but you're also going to get some laughs. You're also going to get some heartwarming moments. And I don't want to say romance, but there is, like, there's feelings of love here. There's feelings of family. There's feelings of connection and friendship and loyalty in this manga. It's not just a bunch of people beating each other bloody for the sake of it. Like, these are people that care about each other, that are not afraid to show that they care about each other. And, you know, it's so wonderful. Maybe I'll do art from, like, volume 4, but the covers also are fantastic. But you can see, like, just how kind of detailed. There's also a lot of nudity. Not much. I don't remember there being any sex, to be honest. Mostly just nudity. But you can see the backgrounds and the scenes of the whole, especially, are pretty well done. There's probably some in the first volume, but anyway. And the action scenes are great as well. But the characters themselves are wonderfully done. Here's a bit of a city sort of scene, but anyway. Yeah, what I really enjoy is these characters look very distinct. They have very distinct personalities. It's just excellent. If you are squeamish, this is not one for you. It is extremely violent. It is that's not, I'm just showing more examples, not of violence, but yeah, it's extremely violent. It is, there are some parts that made me uncomfortable in terms of just, like, the over, I don't know, like, there's some nudity that happens with a particular character quite often that I didn't enjoy because of the seemingly very low IQ of this girl. I thought her character itself was quite funny and well done, except for the over nudity aspects of her character. But when she interacted with other characters, it was quite funny. But yeah, this series, in terms of, like, the story, is so bizarre. Like, there's not a better word to describe this series, I think, than bizarre, or, like, batshit crazy. It's so wacky. Every time that I read a volume, I just kept thinking, what kind of person is Q Hayashida, and how could this world have possibly materialized in someone's head? It's so wacky. And what I love is that it doesn't lose that. All the way through, it stays serious, but also funny, heartwarming, and also just crazy. And the last volume, obviously not going to spoil the ending or anything, but the last volume I enjoyed so much. I was a bit worried about how this would finish because I just didn't understand. I don't know how you rein in crazy. I just, when you go for 23 volumes of just insanity, how do you end that? And I found the ending to be very satisfying. I thought it was a good way to end this, and I just was impressed by it. And then the series as a whole, I just went like, yep, that makes sense. Yeah, it's really good. And I know that this series seems to be quite polarizing in that some people really, 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 really love it, and other people are just like, this is the worst thing. But if you know your tastes and you like wacky, bizarre, zany characters, and you're okay with extreme violence and gore, then I don't see how you can dislike this series. It's so good. And it doesn't, at no point did I think this should be shorter. I didn't really, I don't have a lot of series that go over 20 volumes. And especially not series that aren't like just shonen or shoujo kind of stuff. But this one is really well done, and I don't regret buying it. I will enjoy reading this again. The other thing too is I just remembered about the violence aspect of it. Because of the humor and just the zaniness of the characters, it really isn't as disturbing as it could be. I read a lot of dark series where, like, I'm thinking of like Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service, for example, that is just so graphic and disturbing because you're dealing with like murderers and serial killers and all this whatever. But this world, because of the way this world is, this isn't just the human world. This isn't just, we're just in Tokyo and this is happening. No, this is a completely made up universe. And because of the nature of the characters, their personalities, their existence, and their the way that they all kind of react and handle things makes the violence less scary and disgusting, to me at least. I don't know if that's other people's experience, but like I just wasn't as grossed out as I could have been if those same scenes had been executed in a different manga with a different tone and characters that weren't so wacky and comical. It still packs a punch, but it's not like I feel like I need to vomit punch, which I have gotten a few times in some really disturbing, psychological, gross manga. Yeah, so it's I don't think it's meant to be scary, I guess is my point. I don't know that it's meant to be, I think it's meant to be unsettling. I think it's meant to be gross, but I think it's meant to be funny gross. But also like dark and with the undertone of like, this world sucks, you don't want to be here. Anyway, hopefully I have intrigued you or sold you on buying this for yourself or picking it up and reading it yourself. I would say if you do not like the first few volumes, you're not going to like it. Don't keep searching, don't keep purchasing volumes and searching for something to like. I don't think that if you get past the first couple volumes and you're not interested, I don't think it's going to change your mind reading more of it, honestly. You have to be in a particular mood to read this, I think, but if you know your tastes, and you don't think this is for you, skip it, or give it a try, just 1 or 2 volumes. But I wouldn't, yeah, I recommend reading it, but know your comfort level, for sure. Anyway, if you know any other series that are similar to Dorohedoro that I could check out, do let me know. I'm always on the hunt for good stories, like really, really good characters and good setting and just something so immersive. This is so immersive, and I am sad that I'm done reading it, but happy to own it and have it in my collection now fully. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching.